Hey everybody, it's Savannah Taylor, the Gardenista, your kitchen garden coach. Welcome back to the classroom. Today, I have some really great growing tips. If you love bell peppers, baby, you are in the right place today. Now, I'm going to show you a technique that works really well now that the weather is warming up for most of us. And if you don't have to start your seeds inside, I'm going to show you a little technique, but look at what I've got. Now, I've already planted bell peppers and I'm going to plant some more bell peppers. I don't have any, I don't know where I'm going to put these bell peppers, but I'm doing this for y'all. I'm growing some more bell peppers for y'all. It's going to be a bell pepper bonanza this fall, okay? But listen, look what I have. I have some chocolate beauty. I don't know if you've ever heard of chocolate beauties. These are bell peppers, you guys. And I'm also going to be planting some, these are called purple beauties, and they are beautiful. Look at that. I have these available in my Amazon store, but we're going to plant some more bell peppers today. So let's get started. Now, what I have here, you guys, is I have a whole garden tray. These are just reusable garden trays available in my Amazon store of little seedlings that I crowd planted. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Crowd planting. Now, do you see the little seedlings? I literally just sprinkled a whole bunch of seeds, and I'm going to show you guys how, because I know some of you say you're visual learners. I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. But yes, I now have to do what's called thinning these out, because of course they can't grow in this shallow little nursery tray. I have to go in here and I'm going to thin them out and put them in their nursery pots. So again, you guys, you all can do this with pretty much any seeds. I can't really think of anything that you can't do this with. And I'll tell you, this technique is really great for when you have little tiny seeds. I wouldn't recommend it if you've got big seeds, but if you have little tiny seeds, this is a great technique. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm taking a spoon that I keep out here in my garden, y'all. Don't worry, I don't take this back in the kitchen, but I use a regular spoon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spoon these out. And I'm going to show you how. I'm going to put it in these little nursery pots. Again, reusable little nursery pots available in my Amazon store. And this is how you can give your seeds a head start. Now, before I do that, let me back up just a second, because before before these sprouted up, here's what I did. And I'll show you with another thing just a second. But I sprinkled them on there, and I took another garden tray and I covered them, and it was just like this. Okay. I sprinkled the seeds in here, covered it with this other garden tray, and I let the seeds germinate. Now, I talked about this in a previous video as to not really understanding why this works, how this works, why the seeds seem to germinate a little better when you cover them. Well, I read that sometimes seeds can be very sensitive to light. Okay. And it helps them germinate a little better. And when I talk about germinating, some of you are like, germinating, wishy, I don't speak garden yet. Okay. So to help them sprout. Okay. So once you sprinkle them out, you want to cover them. And this took about, I want to say, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. And remember, this is bell peppers. So other things may not take as long. Bell peppers, you got to be a little patient. So if you do this with bell peppers, just give it a couple weeks before you expect to see any action. Okay. Like I said, a week and a half to a week. But again, I sprinkled them on here. I covered them with something, and then that's when you get the action, and you can check on them every so often. It's not going to mess up anything, but that's what I did. Okay, so I'm going to bring the camera up close to show you how I'm going to pot these. All right, so here we go. For all you visual learners, here we go. This is a form of transplanting, because I am taking a sprout and I'm transplanting it, putting it in another area. But again, crowd planting. If this is something you're going to do, you cannot grow your plants where you are germinating them. You do have to put them somewhere where they can continue to grow. And then after this part, there's another part. We'll get to that in just a second. But here's my little spoon. And I'm literally going to start with this little sprout right here. Okay, scooping it up. Okay, and then just kind of want to hold it. This is not rocket science, guys. Okay, there it is right there. And actually, I can even take it by its little root right there. You can kind of see the little root. All right, and then I'm just going to put my finger down there, stick a hole, and there you go. Look at that. Okay, there we go. Let's do another one. Okay, so I'm going to, let's do this one right here. We're going to scoop her out. Okay, and like I said, you don't have to keep the soil around it. It's not going to do anything, but here we go. Let me get that in the camera. See, there you go. And here's my pot. I'm going to stick my finger in there, put her in there like that, and voila. Okay, and she's good to go. And this, you guys, is so easy. Literally just taking a spoon and just scooping it out. And this is the best time when you see them sprouting like that, because you don't want them to have a whole lot of roots where when you dig down in there, all of a sudden, now you're messing with the root system. So you don't want to do that. But again, I just stick my finger in there because see, that root is pretty long and you want to give it a chance to have, you don't want to cram it in there where it's all folded or whatever. You want to make sure it's nice and comfortable. And there we go. So now that I have them in their little nursery pots, I'm going to give these probably another couple weeks or so to continue growing. I definitely don't want to keep them in here too long, especially when you start seeing the roots coming out the bottom of these. And I have a whole other video on how I did these once they were ready to be put into their permanent home. But listen, here's just a little thing, because I know I'm talking about crowd planting overall. And again, you can do this with any little tiny seeds that you want to plant. But bell peppers specifically, when you get ready to put these in their home, remember that bell peppers have a lifespan of about bell pepper plants have a lifespan of about 5 years. So you want to make sure that wherever you plant your bell peppers, you're not going to want to use that space for a while. Now, that's where grow bags come into play, and they really are handy because you can move grow bags anywhere you want to. They come several in a pack, and you wouldn't have to worry about it occupying maybe a permanent spot in your garden. And then if you have harsh winters, I'm here in Southern California, we don't really get frost like that, maybe once or twice a year. But if you're in an area where you get frost, you can move that grow bag into your shed, into your garage, just somewhere to protect it from the frost. And yes, you can also use a plant cover and to overwinter them as well. But again, I got a whole video on that. I just wanted to throw that in there because the next step, once they come out of their little nursery pots, is to put them in their home. Now, as promised, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I put these in my planter. Now, you don't need a big old gardening tray like this. You can use something, this is just a random planting pot. It's not even a nursery pot. It's a random pot that I keep out here in the garden that I'm going to use. I filled it with soil. And because we're talking about crowd planting, it doesn't really matter kind of what you use as long as you've got some surface space. Now, I'm going to come up close and I'm going to show you guys exactly how easy this is. Okay, so here, like I said, I've got my little random planter pot that I've kept out here, and I've got my seeds right here, and it has enough surface space where, if you don't have anything bigger, who cares? Because we're crowd planting, okay? But I'm literally just going to put the seeds here, and I think I have maybe about 10, 12 seeds, okay? And listen, I've already got about uh, 10 bell pepper plants that came, I think a little bit more than that came up in this gardening tray, in addition to the ones I already got out here. I don't know where I'm putting this, but I'm doing this for y'all. Okay. All right. So we've got them in there. See, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap them down. All right. Just going to tap them down into the soil and then cover them. Let me get it in the camera. Sorry about that. Get them in the camera so you can see I'm literally just covering them, and that's it. Voila. Now I'm going to grab my hose and I'm going to water this really well. And that way, because you do want to water your seeds really well when they first get in there so they can, you know, germinate. But that's it, guys. It's not rocket science. Now, some of you may be saying, okay, but Savannah, what do I cover it with once I plant the seeds in there? Because you said, covering them helps them germinate a little better. Listen, a lot of times these kind of pots come with a lid, and you can just cover it with the lid. Voila. Now I've had this sitting around my garden for so long I don't even know where the little tray that it came with is. I don't even know if I got a tray. But look, I've got some nursery pots here. I put there's three of them stacked together here because they do have holes at the bottom. But if you can just kind of turn them so to block out the light so that it's super dark. And then look at this. Voila, covered. Look at that. Easy peasy. And like I said, in a couple weeks, all I got to do is check it and I'm going to see some sprouts there. And then you do exactly what we did here today. So again, if you've got little tiny seeds, and I'm thinking about seeds like, tomato seeds can be really, really tiny. Oh my gosh, herb seeds. Herb seeds are also very tiny. Lettuce, any of those types of seeds. This is fantastic, just a fantastic way to get them to germinate because I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to show you this again. See this big old tray? I covered this tray in bell pepper seeds. I planted at least, oh my gosh, I want to say maybe 50 seeds in here. But you see, how many actually sprouted within a couple weeks. And that's because, guys, now that's not to say some won't come up if I give them a little bit more time. But the truth of the matter is that germination can be spotty. Sometimes seeds just don't germinate, and sometimes they go dormant. Sometimes it takes them a while to wake up. I don't know. That's just nature. Talk to nature about that. I can't answer that. But if you want to have the best chance of getting a lot of seeds to germinate, this is more effective than taking a little pot and putting one tiny little seed in a pot or in your little growing spot and crossing your fingers. Here, boom, like I said, I've got a whole bunch of bell pepper plants ready to come up. And like I said, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put this stuff because I already got a lot going on here. This is a big old operation. But listen, that's it for today. If you have any questions about crowd planting or this planting strategy, please don't hesitate to put your comments down below. I'm usually really great about getting back to you guys. And listen, I always say there's no such thing as a dumb question, because if you had that question, I guarantee you someone else did. So don't be shy. Get at me. And until next time when we grow something else, I'll see you then. All right. Bye.